Okay. Hi, my name's Joanne Locke. You may have seen me around the place. I'm doing a presentation on safe home visiting as there's a new policy in place that should be in front of you. So before we start, got a few housekeeping bits and pieces, which could you please turn off your mobile phones. As you can see on the map in front of you, the emergency exits are to the front and the rear. There and there. The first aid kit is behind you, as are all the amenities. If you would like a tea and coffee during our break, there's one in to the left. In the event of an emergency, the muster point is out the front on the grass. You will see it. There is a big sign saying muster point 1. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay. So before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wadjuk people and their elders, both past and present. I acknowledge their and respect their contribution to the continuing culture and the life of Fremantle. Okay, so why do we need this policy? What does it cover? A risk assessment was done to assess current policies, which we found out there were none when visiting the community. Staff were entering an unknown environment when entering new people's houses. Management and direct care. So I had no way of visiting or no way of knowing what was happening, where you were, or vice versa. If something had happened in the office, we didn't know where you were. You didn't know not to come back to the office. If you were knocked out dead on the ground somewhere, we had no way of knowing that or finding that information out. So, what does it cover? It covers what to do when one visiting a new home, keeping yourself safe when you're out and about in the community or in someone's house, and when not to visit. That's a very important one. If you're not comfortable visiting somewhere, don't. This is another big one. What is acceptable in a client's house? Some behaviours you cannot avoid. Some behaviours are unacceptable. Alright. It also covers how to contact the office in the event of an emergency or a critical situation, and how the office can contact you. Any questions so far?
Does that cover things like pets inside your home?
It does. Smoking? It covers pets, smoking, drugs and alcohol. We'll go into that a bit further down. So a risk assessment was done. What is a risk assessment? A risk assessment is the identification of potential hazards and consequences of those hazards, which means trips, slips and falls, or
so if you go into a house that's very messy,
yep,
it covers that sort of assessment.
It does.
It doesn't mean you can't go into it.
No.
Just means you
It'll
have to be aware of it.
Yes. So, why did we need a risk assessment? Why did we need one? As part of Southside's community services commitment to health and safety, a risk assessment of any program needs to be done before starting. We want our staff to be in the most safest possible environment. So, what was assessed? Possible situations that might have occurred in the houses or community environments that you went into. This included entering unknown environments, when entering people's homes, like I said earlier, contact people in those homes who may not have been assessed prior to taking on that service, and including people on drugs and alcohol, or drunk, or animals. And it was assessed also what happens in a critical situation. So, next bit. Wait, sorry. So what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen, which is death. You could die or live with a long-term illness or injury. With each of the situations I said before, they have the potential to cause long-term harm. This includes, so what could happen in these risks before was you could go into an unsafe environment. You could be unaware of what's going on. You could come in contact with people you don't know. You could not return to the office when you're expected. So we needed to address these and doing in our new policy. Alright, so what did you think would happen, should have to be put in place for going into safe home to visit home safely? Discussion. What do you think would happen? What should happen?
If you have a couple of people on the first visit, you should go in together as a two-person thing to assess the situation, assess the environment, assess the person, assess their needs, access. So if it's been safe enough for you to go on a second visit, then yes, go by yourself, but if it's not, then you need two people to go each time to cover each other in case of some sort of emergency.
Perfect. That's actually almost what's done. So, in the policy that's in front of me, it says, so this will say how you projected. 1. Risk levels are assessed before you enter a home. Before any direct care staff or direct support workers go into a house, we should know as much about them before direct people go in there. We don't want you to go into somewhere where you don't know anything. So that's all the first bit. 2 staff to attend as required. That might go down in the future if it is not necessary in the future, but if possible, we will always send 2 staff, especially at night. Staff movements will be heavily documented. You will, in advance, so we know where you're going to be.
There should be a care plan in place in the resident of the person's home.
Yes, there will be a care plan in place. That's called off the top of my head, but that's in place before. That's what the direct managers will do before you go and visit. You have to know that care plan before you visit. Alright. You also use your policy to go in. Always stick to your policy. You're covered. Don't keep yourself safe first. Keep yourself legally protected. If you follow this, you should be okay for the most part. Alright. So, the policy. what it actually, policy actually says. Anyway, policy actually says, sorry, so why was this policy made? It was put to be able to put the health and safety of staff first while still being able to support the people in the community. So, Southside will not provide, yeah, what does it say? The actual policy says, Southside will not provide in-home service if it is not safe to do so. We put your health and safety above everybody else's. Sorry. And staff will be supported through training, education, and clear guidelines to minimise safety risks. Any questions?
Maximum safety.
Sorry, minimise safety concerns. Or minimise risks to safety, I guess, is the best one. When not to visit. When not to visit, always keep in mind your own safety. If you're not in a safe situation, don't visit. If risk has been assessed before you go in and it is deemed high, we will arrange for you to go somewhere else. They will come to the office. We will go to community place. 2, 3 staff will assist. Depends on the needs. If you've done a mini risk assessment, which is an assessment of the risk in the general situation, it's not a formal thing. It is just a quick run over in your mind. Is this, and this happening? And if you're not comfortable with going, call up your manager. Call the police before you go. Or if they're known to be mentally unstable, call the local mental health professionals. They'll give you the information. I understand it's not practical always, but what's a 2-minute phone call? So,
Verbally aggressive when you knock on the door.
So this is when not to visit. If the risk of aggression is high, they are verbally aggressive when you get to the door, leave. You're not paid to be abused. Violence is known to recently have occurred in the area. This could be an ex-husband has been known to bang on the door. It could be a drug-enabled neighbour has recently shot someone. That's an extreme example, but anything can happen when you're visiting people in communities, especially if you have mental health issues or drugs, which drugs and alcohol make up a huge proportion of people you're going to be visiting in the house or in the community. So just constantly be aware of that. So this is the policy there are 4 steps to home visits in our policy. I don't know if you can see that in front of you. I can't remember what page it's on. It should start on, that's when not to visit. It should be on the next page. Nope, that's not it. Oh, goodness. I'll find it. We'll have a look through that and find it. There are 4 steps to home visits. First one is do a risk assessment. Your manager would have done one before. Before you've been into the house. A risk of aggression before visiting any client. For existing clients, refer to their client risk profile. Within 1 or 2 staff should be there, what you should be doing beforehand. This could be, like I previously said, calling the police if mental health lines. If you're uncertain of the risks, speak to your manager, read their files. The regular support workers, talk to them first. Find out what needs to be done before you go in there. We also need to consider all the risks, including risks to male staff if you go to a female's house and they're alone. Females can make allegations of sexual misconduct, particularly in a client's home, and protect yourself. We will try not to send a male staff to a female's home alone. So once an initial risk assessment is done by your manager, the person to initiate the contact, it's then categorised into low, medium or high to figure out what to do next. So for those in the high category, don't visit. We'll make other arrangements. For those in the medium category, or amber, I think it is, 2 staff will visit with you. Sorry about the brightness behind me. And that'll remain in place until it's reviewed. This could be a year. It depends on their review. Usually it's done yearly. And they need to demonstrate when it is reviewed for a medium to go to a low risk. They have to prove that they can be, the client needs to prove they can be trusted to be around just one staff member. So the 2 will remain in place until the client has been reviewed and demonstrated that they are no longer a significant risk to health and safety. For those in the low risk, a mini risk assessment is what I said before, should be done before entering a home. A mini risk assessment should also include whether the client is agitated or distressed, despite threatening or aggressive behaviour, like you said before, if they're being verbally aggressive or abusive, if they're mentally unwell, or if they're displaying behaviours out of character.
So if you're a new person, how would you know if they're mentally unwell and displaying out of character behaviour?
You would have to refer to your manager. You'd have to, you would have spoken to their main support worker beforehand at the very least. So you need to always come prepared. Never go into any situation blind. Okay. So that's for the risk assessment part. So the next step to a home visit is finding the best option to minimise risk to your personal safety. Once a decision has been made by management to actually take on the client, management will do the best they can to find an option that is the safest option while still supporting them in the community. This, like I said, that could be that 2 staff to visit. Say you've got someone with MRSA, you'll be always provided with gloves and masks. We currently have somebody who has extreme audio outbursts. You'll be given earplugs. I'll show you in a little while how to insert those. Yeah. So once that's done, when we'll decide on what needs to be done so you can do it safely, so you can enter safely. So number 3 is make a decision. Make a decision on how. So number 2 is finding the different options on how you can do things safely. Number 3 is making a decision on how you will do it, as in what's financially viable, what's practical, or safest risk to you, or it's not going to put you in more danger by offsetting the client. So this may not. So when you make a decision, will identify the potential risks involving the client and make a decision. So we've done that bit. So next step is make it happen. This is what you need to do to make visiting a client happen. This will be having the necessary equipment to deal with that kind of equipment. Hoists, like I said before, earplugs when dealing with clients with extreme audio outbursts, torches for visiting clients at night, first aid kits, your emergency information, like where's the closest hospital, police station, things like that. We'll also make sure those are in date, the client risk profiles are up to date, your first aid kit's stocked, your torch has batteries, you've got to check those little things. Okay. Like I said before, as some clients are known to have extreme audible outbursts, I'm going to do a quick demonstration on how to insert earplugs. I just happen to have them in my pocket. So we've got this foamy type. There's all sorts of different types. These are sort of the ones that we'll get. With your first one, I'm going to do it on my left ear. So you just pull your ear down with your left hand on your left ear and just insert it. Wait, no, sorry, wrong way. Left hand on the right ear and just insert it in. Doesn't need to be sticking out. Doesn't need to be squashed up or anything like that. We'll do it again with the other ear. So you just put your ear down, pretty much just shove it in, and they muffle all the sounds. So if you would like to try them yourself and have me watch you do it, we can do that afterwards. Okay. Right, monitoring and reviewing these policies. Oh, did you have any questions on the reports? Oh, good. Oh, good. If you've noticed before, there was the extreme audible outbursts for policy, because we were working with a client who would, I think it was up to 98 decibels.
Lovely.
Yes. So that was the assessment that I was looking for. And if you are working with that particular client and have read the policy, you'd know vacuum can cause long-term hearing damage. So if you are working with those clients as well, you have to have hearing tests every so often. Can't remember off the top of my head. So, monitoring and reviews. How will we monitor it? Ongoing reviews of every policy is in place. These include our audits, discussing them at team meetings, and a formal review. Most policies get reviewed every 2 years. This one will get, this will be at formal meetings and things like that, which brings me to my next bit, which is when will they be reviewed? Individual risk assessments get reviewed yearly. Unless an incident has occurred, then it'll be done when the incident has occurred. If it's less than a year. There's going to be a formal review of this policy of the safe home visiting policy for the first 3 months. We need to iron out any kinks. We need feedback from everyone. And then we'll do it again in 3 months So 6 months from now, we'll do another review. After that, it'll be a year, which is most times, this is a particularly important one because we want to keep everybody in our workforce safe. For new staff, this will all go into induction training. So, information on changes. Who sends it? Your supervisor will tell you. Well, your client's needs change. You'll probably tell your supervisor as well when clients' needs change. Please be on to reporting incidents.
Because all get documented in the paper?
Yes, everything gets documented. You need to write it down. If you don't write it down, it didn't happen. So your supervisor will inform you, or your HR will send it off to the relevant bodies if it needs to be shown, like, say, they'll email it, and then it'll get put on the notice board for everyone to sign, like it usually does. Then you will, yeah, that's about it. It'll get sent out to you. Your manager will let you know by phone if it's extremely important. If not, they'll email it to you. Notice board. It'll be put on updated on our intranet. So you should know how to get onto your staff files or staff pages with all your policies and procedures. It'll be in your policies and procedures file. HR will make sure that is up to date. So who gets it? These family, the other services that are involved, HAC, I don't know if they have a specific service through the NDIS, it could be Bright Sky, it could be Numbalunga, it could be ACAP. ACAP is a good one. It could also be DSC, because DSC cover a wide range of questions. There we go. So, if you've got any questions, No?
WHS for the union thing.
WHS stands for Work Health and Safety Rep. So, and as you can hear in the background, our fire alarm's going off. So if you could please kindly walk through the front exit as it is the closest one, and we'll meet out the front.